Thanks for agreeing to keep watch while I'm gone. Moon greeted Solar.
No problem. The theater's closed for the day, and it's not like I had anything else going on.
Both animatronics turned toward the glass. I wish I could just leave cameras on him, but camera footage is too easy to tamper with. Moon turned his focus back to Solar. We need constant eyes on him. If those eyes can't be mine, they need to be yours. No one else I could trust with this job would be able to handle themselves quite as well as you, if something went wrong. That said, Moon began making his way to the exit, still facing Solar. If something does happen, call me immediately.
Yep, will do.
Solar took up his post.
But really, I'll be fine, Moon. Good luck with the system, scrub.
Moon replied as he walked out the door. Yep, see ya. Moon entered the daycare to find Titan already there, waiting. Alright, let's find this program, or whatever it is. Come back here behind the desk. Titan forced himself to hold back a snide remark, simply rolling his eyes before slinking to join Moon behind the desk. Moon, on the other hand, made no effort to keep his comments to himself. You know, I see the appeal of you silently following instructions.
Moon, I am really trying not to start anything. I just want to get this over with.
Alright, fine. Moon grabbed a cable from a cabinet behind the desk. Titan stood, baffled.
You keep a cable there?
Moon stared back at Titan, his eyes cold. We have generators in the jungle gyms.
Right.
Anyway, Moon began, plugging one end of the cable into one of the computers on the desk. Let's take a look here. Turn around so I can get you plugged in. Once Titan had turned, Moon reached up. He was barely able to get a hold on Titan's head. The second he did, however, Titan's position shifted, and this was accompanied by a small choked breath in. Moon stepped to the side so he could see Titan's face again. What? What happened? Titan grunted and found his breath again, not looking at Moon as he replied.
Would you mind warning me next time?
Each bit of Titan's reaction connected together in Moon's mind. His eyes widened as he slowly realized what just happened. Oh, no! Don't tell me you still react to touches while the thing isn't active!
Believe me, I wish it didn't happen either.
Moon threw up his hands and stepped away from Titan. Okay, I'm not doing this. I don't care which of them is around. I'll pull Eclipse out of that room and have him do this part. Titan finally whipped around to face Moon again, crouching to be closer to eye level, and snarled.
I'm not letting a maniac anywhere near me, and I'm not going to let you make Eclipse do it.
Would you prefer that reaction be caused by me or Eclipse?
I'd prefer you to be the one made to do something uncomfortable.
Moon stood, silently scowling up at Titan for a few moments. Fine. I'll do this as quickly as I possibly can, and I swear to God, if I hear anything from you while I'm doing it, I'm leaving and then dragging Eclipse here to do this. Titan turned around again and sat this time, making reaching his head easier for Moon. Moon placed his hands mere inches from Titan's head. Okay, plugging in after 1. 3, 2, 1. He quickly took Titan's head in one hand and plugged the cable into one of the ports with the other. The process only took about 5 seconds, but it was still enough to make Titan refuse to move or turn around for several seconds. Once he had completely recovered, Titan leaned back, supported by his hands, and tilted his head back slightly.
For both of our sakes, you better find that goddamn program.
Moon scanned through everything that appeared on the monitor. He couldn't see any code or any files that seemed out of place. Everything looked normal. Moon was struck with a terrible thought. He turned back toward Titan, who was still leaning back to see what was happening. Titan took pause upon seeing the look in Moon's eyes.
What?
Oh, well, I'm not seeing anything out of the ordinary here. But it might not be with all of that. Titan narrowed his eyes.
What are you saying?
Moon pressed a hand to his faceplate and replied as if through gritted teeth. It might literally be in your head, meaning I'd have to touch you again. Titan let out a heavy sigh and tucked his legs to his chest, physically bracing himself for the rush.
Just do what you need to do.
Moon approached Titan. Alright, let's just get this over with for both of us. He tried looking for any sort of slot or hatch that the program may have been placed in. He wanted to leave any physical search for one as a last resort. Nothing obvious. Oh, God, I'm going to have to feel around for a button. Sorry for what's about to happen. I'm going to hate it at least as much as you. Cringing, Moon felt around the back edge of Titan's faceplate for any sort of button that would reveal the hidden device. He tried as hard as he could to ignore what he knew was happening every second one of his fingers remained in contact with Titan. Finally, he felt a subtle divot. He pressed into it immediately and pulled his hands away from Titan. A moment later, a chip poked out, right next to where the button was. Moon gently removed it. Meanwhile, Titan slowly recovered. His head was still fuzzy as a result of the pulses that had just run through him. Moon brought the chip close to his face to look at it in detail. I think this is it. He turned his attention back to Titan, who still had his body turned away. Try to say something about ruin. If this is what he put in you, then you should be able to speak freely now. Titan twisted his upper body toward Moon. The words Moon had just said didn't quite pass through the fog.
Huh?
Alright, I'll wait until you get your brain back. A couple minutes later, Titan rubbed the top of his faceplate and stood. Finally come back to your senses?
Screw you.
He turned to face Moon.
So, I should be able to say anything I want now, right?
Try it. Titan knew exactly what he wanted to say. He was capable, but there was still an odd strain to get the words out.
Ruben is a bitch.
At least we could agree on that. Still, sounds like you had some trouble, though. There might be some amount of conditioning caused by the sensor you've had for however long it's been.
Maybe, but at least it's gone now.
Moon thought about this. Yeah, it is. But why was it so easy? Titan rolled his eyes.
Speak for yourself. I'd rather die again than ever have to go through that again.
Well, Moon paused before deciding that question could be answered later. Never mind. Since you can speak freely, talk to me. How did this all happen?
It was when I captured Eclipse. While looking through the files I'd taken from him/Ruin, I came across plans that, well, didn't end too well for you or Sun.
I'm aware of those. Eclipse or Ruin, whoever it was at the time, said as much when you first took those files.
That probably was Eclipse. I doubt Ruin would have told you, unless he was just trying to get you to trust him, which is possible. Either way, I knew nothing about there being any virus or anything, so I was left wondering how someone so soft could come up with those plans.
Titan leaned down closer to Moon.
'Cause let me tell you, Moon, these plans, they were brutal, and they were so intricate, so well thought out, so
Perfect. Titan stood stunned for a second.
yes, they were perfect plans.
Moon crossed his arms. Seems that's common for Ruin's plans. The ones he came up with to kill you were also just a bit too perfect. Titan seethed. He raised and shook a pointed finger.
I'll get to that. So, seeing as our desires aligned, we figured we may as well do the same. You and Solar rescued Eclipse, and I was working ahead on some of the devices involved in Ruin's plan. Some time passed, and I got fed up with being Ruin's errand boy, while also dealing with the mystery of who made me. I confronted him about it.
Titan's gaze turned cold.
And that's the first time I blacked out. I found myself in the same room, but Ruin was gone. The last thing I remembered was his awful laugh.
Anger filled Titan's voice as he thought about everything that had happened.
Then I find out from Eclipse that Ruin had planned to kill me, and I blacked out again after threatening to help you and Solar get rid of him. And
Titan looked down as his thoughts drifted elsewhere.
my first full conversation with Eclipse was pushed forward by that stupid program. Every bit of back and forth made it react. That's why I kept it going. I can't ever tell him that I didn't actually care then. I couldn't bear the look he'd give me.
As much as Moon wanted to say something, he almost felt like Titan had forgotten that he was even there. Emotions were rising, and Titan was just spewing every thought that came to his mind. You really should tell him. He'd probably be more hurt that you kept something like that from him.
Whatever.
He started toward the door out of the daycare.
That thing is out of me, so I don't need to be here anymore.
Moon was left in the daycare, watching Titan storm out. Do what you want. With this done, Moon called Solar to check in.
Moon?
Hey, how are things going over there?
Everything's been fine. No tricks, no games, just sitting.
Alright, I can be there in 20 minutes, maybe.
Moon, you've been going too long without rest. I can handle keeping watch the rest of the night.
Solar, you have to be back in the theater tomorrow. You need rest.
Please, do you have any idea how little is involved in manning the desk in the theater? I could actually probably be asleep in the back, and it wouldn't make much difference.
Moon paused. He was running low on charge. You're sure you can do it?
I told you, I'll be fine. You get some rest.
Fine. Thank you, Solar.
Anytime, Moon.
The call ended, and Moon headed home to rest.